Welcome back to the channel, and this week I am having a week off from fixing all the broken projects that are sat inside my garage, because I am actually stood outside a building that houses the largest collection of British motorbikes to be found anywhere in the world, and I'm about to go inside and take a look. And in this very building behind me is where Norton motorcycles used to be made, but these days it's not just Norton motorcycles that this building houses. This building contains over 1,000 machines from 170 different manufacturers. So that leaves only one place I can be, and that is the National Motorcycle Museum in Solihull. And I am super excited to get inside and take a look around. Spending a bunch of time just looking around the lobby and the cafe, I finally made it in to the first hall, and it is just mind-boggling. I don't think I've ever seen so many bikes in one place, and I am stood right next to something that is nearly 100 years older than me. Madness. 1989, and that thing is probably in better condition than I am. These things are a little bit of a strange contraption, but I bet they were absolutely the thing to have back in the day. Then as you go around the room, it moves year by year, and I am just waiting to see when the bikes stop looking like pedal bikes with engines and start looking more like the bikes that we recognise today. God damn, are they cool. Would you look at the drive belt on that thing? Looks like it belongs on a train. So at about 1913, I got to the first bike in the room, or in the row of this room, that is the first one that doesn't actually have pedals. So it is a fully engine-powered motorbike, and it is a Royal Enfield. And would you look at that? It is a 1914 425 V-twin. And although it still looks a bit like a push bike because it's got the skinny tyres, there are no pedals. That is just cool. That outstanding creation back there is a 1919 1000cc Rex. So even back in 1919, they had 1000cc engines. And that thing don't even look that big. And with this being a museum, of course you're going to learn things along the way, and something I've just learned that apparently most of the bikes I just looked at had was those headlamps are powered by gas, which never ever even entered my realm of thought at any point. I just assumed they were headlights, but they actually have a little reservoir back there for the gas. Mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing. Look at the springs under that. That would put a bobber seat to absolute shame. So we're up to about 1927, and this is where the bikes from here on start to look a little bit more like what we know of today. Now, they've still got mad springs in the front forks and just springs anywhere they could throw them, really, but they really start to sort of round the tanks off consistently from here on out, because previously they've all been quite angular or squared. But man, they are nice. This is mega. It is just a row of sunbeams, and you can see the progression of the bike through each year. or each couple of years. While on the row of Sunbeams, one really interesting thing I noticed is at 1947 we get to this bike, the Sunbeam Model S7, which, as far as I can see, is the first bike in this room for the year that has, or looks to be, more like a bike that we would know today, with the standard front forks, you know, 2 gas struts or struts on either side. How cool is that? Now this is just a crazy looking thing. It looks like something straight out of a steampunk drawing. 1912, 848. Crazy thing. Now here's a couple of things that are more my speed. Some little mini motos. They are a lot older than anything I've ever dealt with. How freaking cool are they? I would cut off my left leg to get my hands on one of them. Now this place is just unreal. I mean, it is really quiet because it is a Wednesday afternoon and there's pretty much nobody here, so it is making my enjoyment experience that much better because I can literally just walk around and look at whatever I want. But you have literally got to do laps and laps of each room to take it all in because there are just so many bikes. This is the second room and it is just incredible. It is literally everything here. You've got some very early bikes. That one is from 1909. And then just over there, you've got a couple of Norton race bikes. One of them is a 2023, so it is a massive mix of bikes in this room. Then that is particularly cool are these drag bikes. Now, I have never ever seen one of these in person. This is only something I've ever seen videos of. How freaking cool, and look at the size of that tyre. Speaking of tyres, this Borough Superior is actually a twin rear wheel. What on earth were people thinking back in the 1930s? And that is how an engine works. Now here's a couple of bikes that I never thought I would come across. Probably anywhere. And here is 2 of them. These 2 beauties are Hesketh V1000s. Oh, if you don't know what Hesketh is because you're a similar age to me or possibly even younger, Hesketh used to be a Formula 1 racing team, which you may remember from the film Rush. And now it's owned by Lord Alexander Hesketh. Not only did he have a Formula 1 racing team, he made a couple of motorbikes before the company went into receivership and bust, I think, after that. But how freaking cool. And that right there is a bit of me. It's not British, it is an Indian. Is a bike I'm pretty sure everybody is familiar with. It's fairly modern, doesn't quite have the class of the vintage bikes knocking around in here, but this is a Triumph Rocket 3. And now I've never really been up close and personal on one of these. I have seen them, but not up close. But look at the size of that tank. That is huge. Then again, look at the size of that engine. It is 2,300 cc. That into perspective, the cubic capacity on that bike is bigger than pretty much, I don't know, 50-60% of the cars out on the road. Most of them, you know, you can take any hatchback out on the road, that thing's got a bigger engine. Man, that is and that's in a bike, not a car. So no doubt, in a straight line, that thing is probably a monster, but I mean, based on the size and the weight of it, you would not want to throw that into a corner. Something else that you definitely couldn't throw into a corner, but is probably one of the most beautifully crafted things I have ever seen, is this right here. That beautiful bit of craftsmanship right there is a Norton Model 18 with a sidecar, which is just out of this world with craftsmanship. Right here, we've got an entire row of Isle of Man TT racers. The history that is just sat on this row of bikes alone is beyond comprehension. There is just an unbelievable amount of stuff to look at, and every bike here is in absolutely pristine condition. And the crazy thing is, I would say 99% of the bikes in here, they're all older than me. They are so far before my time. But that does not mean that I do not appreciate them, because a lot of them, the older they are, the more special they are. So I may not understand the history behind each bike or the history that goes with it, but I absolutely appreciate each and every one of these bikes for how special they are. And it's not just the bikes, you've got the artwork that goes with it. You've got some special moments in history right there on the walls, captured live as they were happening. Is it me, or does that look a lot like them electric scooters that everybody is riding around the streets these days? I'm pretty sure back in the 1921 that the kids were not zipping around on these like they are today, just flying down the road in their dark clothing, just trying to get in a traffic accident. How cool is that? Now, I know I've said I've been mind blown by a lot of different things in this museum, but this is probably one of the most mind-blowing things here. This thing is from 1910, and it's a shaft drive. And just look at it, it is such a crazy contraption. It's got a 676cc engine. I have no idea how the suspension works on that thing. Is that drum brakes? But look at that, it is a shaft drive. 1910 with a shaft drive. That is 114 years old. That is more than nearly 4 of my lifetimes. That is just absolutely mind-blowing. 114 years old. Which means shaft drive has been around for at least 114 years. And I still haven't owned a bike with a shaft drive. And that right there is a vehicle of mass destruction. Imagine just cutting about with your mate in the army on your little bike, and your mate is in a sidecar firing a machine gun. Now, I would love to show you around the entire museum, and I could probably go around and make up stuff about all of these bikes for days on end, because so far I haven't given you any actual facts. I've just told you what I'm thinking as I go around. But there is so much history here and so much to soak in, and each bike has got its little plaque with information about it. So if you haven't been here yet, then I definitely recommend getting yourselves down here. If you like older bikes or just motorcycle history in general, then definitely get down here and check this place out, because it is just unreal. And if you do get down here before April, you can enter their raffle to win this incredible Norton behind me for just £2 a ticket. So I am leaving here after three or so hours of having a good look around with a big smile on my face, a nice full belly from the cafe, and a couple of raffle tickets to try and win that Norton. And not only have I got a smile on my face, I have got some good ideas for things that I would like to bring to this channel in the new year. Now, nothing probably as fantastic as what we've seen here, but I got some things cooking up in here. So before I head back to Swansea, it's time to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed looking at all the bikes in there and spending the day with my dad. If you did enjoy this video, then make sure you hit that thumbs up button and comment to tell me you want to see more of this kind of thing, and I'll go touring all the motorbike museums the UK or even the world has to offer. And if you definitely want to see more of this type of content, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel so that you can see it all. So until next week, thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to get back on the road to Swansea.